What's up, Bike Life gang? Another video. Today we're gonna talk about how to clean this bad boy. Oh my god. Alright, I can't believe so you guys probably know by now that for all my intros I do a little wheelie. And today I was really thinking about whether I should do the wheelie, because I'm literally in the middle of the city and I also don't want to, you know, that I usually try to keep it safe. I go to a spot where there are no people. Here there are a lot of people. So I was waiting for a moment where I could pull the wheelie, and literally 10 meters after I pull the wheelie, there's the police right there. And I'm sure he heard it, but maybe he didn't see it, or maybe he just didn't care. But either way, I got really lucky. So here's the motorbike shop. Before we go clean the bike, we're gonna buy some lubricant. Alright guys, so we've just bought the lubricant. But there is a bit of a plot twist today, because I just got a message from my brother, and he told me that his friend living in Rotterdam in the Netherlands were... Okay, I need to give you guys a bit of background, because I live or I do my videos with you guys mostly in Germany. That's where my motorbike is right now, where my girlfriend lives. So I'm doing a lot of riding here, but I'm actually living in the Netherlands and planning to work there soon as well. And I live in Rotterdam, which is a city close to Amsterdam. And actually I used to have my motorbike there. The reason I have my motorbike here now is because I don't have a garage there, and after having this motorbike there for only 3 weeks, it got stolen, this very bike. And so I got lucky because I had a GPS tracker on it, and I actually got the bike back after 24 hours of 24 hours of a nightmare, basically, of trying to get it back but not being successful. And here we go again. So I got really lucky with that. Now what's the plot twist? My brother just called and he said, hey, I've got a friend in Rotterdam, so in the same city where my bike got stolen, and he said his bike just got stolen. He's got an African twin and he just realized that someone stole it. So he's gonna give me a call now, and I'll see if I can help, just based on my experience of dealing with the police and all the things to do and not to do. So I'll take that call now, then I'll update you guys on what happened there, and in the meantime we're gonna go ride to the place where we're gonna clean my bikes. Quick update on the call. I just spoke with a guy. He's actually from Germany himself as well, and he was visiting his girlfriend in Rotterdam now. So it's really kind of almost funny how it's the same situation as with me, where I live in Rotterdam and have my girlfriend here. But yeah, anyway, basically he went there yesterday, spent a night, woke up this morning, and right away his brand new African twin, well, not brand new but very new African twin 2020 model got stolen. Yeah, so he just, you know, woke up and saw the bike wasn't there anymore. He actually had planned to buy some more, you know, secure locks for the bike while he's there. So he was going to do that today, and too late, they already stole it. So it's just such a, it really makes me so freaking angry. You have no idea, because this is really organized crime in Rotterdam. I had this bike there for 3 weeks, and basically what I learned after it got stolen, of course, was that they specifically target obviously expensive and new bikes, but then also specifically bikes with a German license plate, because those are usually the bikes that are kept in really good shape on average, because we have such strict rules here where we need to take it to an inspection that is checked by the government every year, etc., etc. So they know that these bikes are in good shape, and so they're looking out to steal them. And you know, he spent one night there and it was already gone. Like, it's just so freaking insane. I'm gonna actually put some pictures in the video now to where I can show you what it looked like when my bike got stolen. I just have a picture of where the police finally found it, and I have another picture that shows this part where you can see what they did to start the bike, because basically they took all of this apart and you could just stick a screwdriver in there and turn it on, and that was it. So they are also really professional, and I just got extremely lucky that I got my bike back. If you want to hear the full story on that, I can also do a video on that in another time. But for now, let's try and help the guy. Alright guys, so we're gonna clean this bike because it's pretty dirty by now. I already mentioned it at the beginning of the video. So around this time of the year you get all the insects stuck to the bike, and the longer you wait the harder they pack, so I just want to avoid that. And in general, you know, it's just nice to have a clean bike, especially when they're pretty like this one. Alright, so how do I do my kind of quick and dirty clean? And this is really the sort of you know, the regular clean that you do. I do this like at least once a month, just quickly, a couple of minutes to keep it in shape, and then, you know, I do a deep clean with a lot more things, maybe once in half a year or so. So this is just a quick one. Basically we're gonna start with putting some foam all over the bike. We'll let that sit for a little bit, sink in, so that it can start working on the dirt, and then we'll go from there. So we'll start with that now. And a little pro tip on the side, guys. If you look here, I don't know if you can see it, but I've got a pocket here in my motorbike jacket, and that is always filled with coins, because I can't tell you how many times I've come to a place like this, didn't have coins, and had to go and get coins first to make sure that I can actually use the machine. So I'm gonna put €2 in there for now. That should be enough for the start, and I'm just gonna start with the foam cleaner. I don't do all the steps usually. You don't need to really do that. We're just gonna start with the foam. Alright guys, so the bike is covered in soap now, and I'm gonna let that rest just a little bit. I don't exaggerate. When it's just the kind of quick clean, I wait for maybe a minute, just let it sit a little bit, and then after that we're gonna go use just a regular water, basically. So it's just pure water with pressure, and we're going to use that to rinse off all the soap and get off all the dirt as well, of course. Alright guys, so we've got the normal fresh water now, and what we're going to do is work from the top to bottom. That's just the smartest way to do it, because that way you make sure you don't spray up any of the dirt on the parts that you've already cleaned. So we're going to start, or at least this is how I do it. I start from kind of far away, especially here at the top with the handlebar. I don't want to get too close because there is a lot of pressure on these and you can break things as well. So I just stay away a little bit and spray the bike, the entire bike. and then I start getting closer. See, for example, that in the engine there, around the engine, you can get a lot of that from here already, and you don't want to get too close to all the little, like all the wiring and all that. Okay, so now gonna finish the handlebars and gonna work the seat a bit, although that's not too bad. Now I'm gonna start working my way down. The parts that are usually really dirty are around the wheels, where you spray most of the dirt. So for example, your exhaust, and inside here, of course. And here you can, I don't know if you can see it, but you can really spray inside here, nothing will happen. With your exhaust, you need to be a little bit careful that you don't spray any water in here, of course, because you don't want water inside of there. You can get these little things, like these plugs, to plug in there to make sure that you don't get any water in there, but if you're careful, you shouldn't really have any problems. Okay, now we're getting to the front, which is sort of the most important part for this clean, and I'm gonna work that quite a bit. And you see, it's pretty easy to clean a supermoto because it's all plastic and you don't have to be too careful with that. You can go, you know, and do that with a little less care, and it's fine. It doesn't really hurt the bike. Here you need to be a little bit careful. Don't get too close here either on the suspension, because anywhere where you have, you know, these little rubber cushions, you don't want to blow those out. Okay, so I need to put a little bit more money. Alright, I just forgot to mention, guys, I said this was fresh water. This actually, and I think you can probably see it on the video, it's not fresh water, it's just the water with pressure and a bit of soap, but it's very basic still. Alright, then I also get the rims a bit. Again, here, don't get too close in here, because you don't want to damage your bearings. And then I'm gonna work my way backward. Under the bike as well. This is where all the little rocks hit. And the rims here as well. Again, be careful with your bearings, and with your chain also don't get too close to that, because you have in here, you have these little rubber cushions as well. By the way, I don't know the correct term, so you can correct me in the comments, but yeah, you don't want to damage those, so don't get too close. And then we're almost done with the main clean already. Okay, so that was the main part of the clean. Now what we're gonna do is, I'll show you. We're gonna rinse it off now with just fresh water, no soap in there. So sorry for getting that wrong earlier, but now we're just going to use fresh water with pressure but no soap. Alright guys, so here we are now. We've just cleaned the bike, and basically I'm just gonna wait for a moment now and let all the water drop off, and once that's done I'm gonna start hand drying it myself. One thing that I didn't mention earlier, actually I picked the perfect day for cleaning the bike. So it's really sunny out, it's really beautiful, and ideally that's what you want, of course, because it's going to help you dry the bike, and it's also going to help you keep it clean, of course. If it's like a cloudy day and it might rain later, then you're going to be upset if you've just cleaned it and then you end up in the rain again. So that just as a little bit of a side note. I think that's happened to all of us as well, who've had a bike for a little longer. But yeah, it's just something you might not think about when you're doing this for the first time. So before we start drying it, what I've bought here, so I've bought the chain lubricant that we'll get to later, but I've also bought some drying cloth, but these are, I forget the name in English again, they have the microfibers, that's what it is. So they're microfiber cloth, and again, it's not a must on a supermoto, I think, because it's mainly plastic, but it's nice to have, because with the microfiber cloth you make sure that you don't put any little scratches into it, and you just keep it in good shape over the years, even if you always use a microfiber cloth. And that's exactly what you shouldn't do with your microfiber cloth. Okay, so I'm gonna start cleaning her now, getting all the water off, and I'll see you guys after that. Something I forgot to mention, guys, and I forgot to do, I'm gonna take off the seat now, and I'm gonna let that dry separately, and that has two reasons. One, if I can point it a little bit better towards the sun, it will dry a bit sooner, and if I point it down, the water can run off a little bit better. But more importantly, what I've noticed on the 690 train, alright, what I've noticed on the 690 is that it gets super wet on the inside when you clean it, and I've got the Powerparts air filter box, and you can see how wet that is. So you don't want to start your bike while it's still that wet, because it's going to suck in all the water, and that's no bueno. So that's why I leave it open, that way it can dry a little bit more easily, and I can get to it to dry it myself. So I'll actually start with that now, to make sure that, you know, it's as dry as possible, and then it has time to dry off the last bits as I'm working on the rest of the bike. All right. So the bike has had some time to dry off now, and so the air filter box and also the chain is relatively dry now. Just to make sure that it's really dry, especially the chain, I'm gonna go for a quick ride now. That will get off, you know, that actually helps drying the bike, because the wind will blow through everything, and then we'll come back here and finally take care of our chain, and then we're done. Alright, so I don't know if you just saw that, but that's also something I usually do, is I brake pretty hard at one point, and you can see a lot of water pour out that way, because especially with this bike, I don't know where it keeps all the water, but it definitely it's gathering up somewhere, and you can see how, maybe I can show you again. It looks like we got most of it out, but yeah, it just gets that water out as well. Here is my chain lubricant, and I have the opinion that you can really use almost any chain lubricant. You don't really need to go for any expensive stuff. In my case now, I've bought one that says that it won't spray off once you start riding the bike, and I've done that because in my case I can't do this in my garden because I don't have one. I have to do that here, so I'm gonna need to ride the bike back home. So that's one thing if you're not cleaning it at home, or you're not taking care of your chain at home. And then it can help to have one where you know that it will stick to the chain even if you start riding. Now, one last thing about that, it's obviously not a guarantee. I am gonna wait after lubricating my chain to make sure it gets to work on the chain a bit and stays inside. That is still important, but I'm hoping at least that I don't have to wait as long as with a regular spray. Alright, now let's get started with the actual chain. Again, I don't have a place at home to do this, so I also don't have a stand now to turn my back wheel. So what I'm going to do is going to spray the chain, roll the bike towards that side, spray that part of the chain, roll it backward, spray that part of the chain until I get the full chain. And that's basically how we're going to work this out. Alright, so you always want to spray on the inside of the chain here, not on the back, on the outside, because that's not, you need the lubricant on the inside because that's where it touches your sprockets, okay? And also if you put it on the inside, again, you have less risk of it spraying off right after you put it on. Okay, so I'm gonna put that here now, and you want to try to avoid spraying on your back wheel, and also usually you can put a cardboard or something here so that you don't, you know, spray all over the place. I don't have that today, but it is better if you do that. Maybe one more side note. You can see that when I touch my chain, I don't get much residue on my fingers. That's a good sign because it means it's not very dirty, but it's also a bad sign because it's also very dry. So you can test that quite easily that way. So it's good that we put the lubricant on so that it's not too dry, but it's also good to know that it didn't get too dirty in the meantime. We're almost there. You always look a bit like an idiot in these places when you're doing this, but I think most people understand. Alright guys, so we're done here. Everything is settled now. Basically all I'm going to do now is just ride it home, and the last thing there is to ride it home a little bit more slowly, so maybe don't do wheelies on the way back, or maybe don't go too fast, because then again all the lubricant will come off the chain. So I'm just gonna try to go a little bit steady, then let the rest of the lubricant settle in at home, and then in a couple hours I can go all out again. Alright guys, hope you guys enjoyed. A little bit of a crazy vlog today. So the 3 basic steps to cleaning your bike like bike life. First, do a wheelie and almost get caught by the police. Step number 2, help your friend out whose bike got stolen. Step number 3, clean your bike. Alright guys, see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Peace.